So yesterday in the evening, after our hard day of work, we had an awards reception, and we announced the winner of an award. They weren't there. You know where they were, these partners? They were sitting around working, talking about what they got out of the day, what they have to do to go forward. So it's no surprise at all that they won the Firm of the Year award. So I'm going to give it to Stan right now. Congratulations.
Rick, you actually took my second point here. Before I get going into what we do at Stawowski McGill, I wanted to just acknowledge the panel up that was here yesterday and how inspiring it was to hear Dale say they're getting 30 grand a month, and we have a little ways to go to catch up to them, but it's great to have somebody to chase, and so very inspiring. And the second thing was that I was going to apologize for not being here at the rewards thing last night, and we did get chatting and we did get into the rum, and pretty soon it was late, and you know how that goes, so that's what happened. And we didn't mean to disrespect Ran One's putting this great event together, because it's a lot of work, and so we really didn't mean to disrespect the event, so my apologies for not being here, but we did have great rum, so that's the way it goes. Let me just give you a little background. I went to boot camp in '97 at Whistler. I came back to my office. I was a sole practitioner. I had subcontract people. I made lots of money. I felt like I was fraudulent when I came back from that event. I've been helping different clients with business advisory work, and I looked at myself, and I really wasn't a business that my clients had. I didn't have employees. I didn't have to make payroll. There's a lot of things that my clients were going through that I was helping them with, but you know what? I really felt like I was fraudulent, and so the journey began, and I had to change my whole way of doing things, and I had to find an employee. So thank God I got the first one that was great, and still with me as a partner. Not here today, and then things had to evolve from there. 12 years ago, we decided cold turkey that all our new clients coming on board were going to go through this process. And it took us a few years to figure out what the hell that process was, because we just really didn't know. And we felt that to help clients, we've got to understand where they want to go. And so we instituted a planning day process where we now use the business diagnostic tools and help determine where the weaknesses are with that client. We talk about that planning day process, and for us, it's one of the key things. It's a key differentiator for our firm, but it kind of gets the ball rolling as to what needs to be done with that client in the upcoming year. And we get the client out of their space, whether it's one partner or 5 partners. We bring them in, and it's like a war zone in our boardroom, because we have sheets of paper, and what we're trying to accomplish is determining goals, more importantly personal goals and corporate goals, and determine a bunch of things that need to get done in the next year. And at the end of the day, after we've gone through all kinds of stories and issues, we have these sheets of paper all over the walls that have all these to-dos. Sometimes we only have 10, but lots of times we'll have 30 things that need to get done. And at the end of the day, we ask the client, tell us what your priority is of all these different things. It can be as simple as planning a vacation. It can be that simple, where we've had clients come to us from 3 partners after 3 years of not taking a vacation. And so that was point number 1. We got to go back to our office and we're going to get our calendars out and take vacations. Nothing to do with accounting, nothing to do with finance, nothing to do with any of that. And that process, that to-do sheet, we now take and we put that into our statement of work. And it is a bi-month statement of work. And there's some recurring things. And one of the things that always gets thrown in there is we sit down and develop budgeting and forecasting with our clients. And so as we make decisions, all those decisions tie into those numbers. And that budgeting and forecasting model, it is the full balance sheet pushed out, it's the full income statement pushed out, it's the cash flow pushed out, and all the bank covenants that they are supposed to abide by are there. And then when we start doing what-if analysis with those, it automatically changes all their numbers. And that's one of those deliverables that gives us the reason to sit down with them on a month-to-month basis. And it's something that we, being accountants, or that background that we have, it's a great thing to start off discussions on a month-to-month basis. That's kind of what we know, and that's kind of what we're pretty good at. But it's a great lead-in to do other things. And that statement of work, at the end of the year or halfway through the year, there is a number of things there that, you know, we're responsible for, the client's responsible for, or there's some things that we're both responsible for. And as we're going, it's tick, tick, tick. These things are getting done. So at the end of the year, you can look at that statement of work and say, we have completed 90% of these things. It makes them accountable to us, and it makes us accountable to them. And if we're going off track here, and there's things that come up that you might be half year into the engagement, and there's something that comes up that's critical, you know, you still put those things on the SOW aside and you deal with it. But it's great to add it to and say, here's another thing that we accomplished. Our firm is approaching probably close to 75% fixed fee billings. So all our new clients since day one, new clients, when they come into the firm, there's a fixed fee, and we're now just under $6,000 for our monthly fixed fee. As high as 10, 12, but on average 55, 6, 7. You know, we've had a couple of smaller ones that we've taken on to help develop team members. One of the things, how we feel this whole process is working, is that it's really easy to sell. We have a very defined, clear, here's what we do and here's why we do it. So when we're sitting down with the client, it's about, you know, if you can't articulate to us what is important to you, how in the hell do we come back to you and advise you? Like, it's got to be that, you have to have that clarity. And so it's an easy thing to get across to a client as to how the process should work. It's easy to get referrals. We deal with one number of banks, but in our market area, we get a ton of referrals from one particular bank that, I mean, lots of times we're not sure how we're going to handle them all. And what they do is, if they're having a problem client, they'll say, well, come and see Stawowski McGill, and because we want to know where in the hell they're going. And so we get them into the model. We show the bank that these guys are actually going to work themselves out of the problem that they're at. So it's really been a real easy sell. The impact on our firm. The biggest impact, and I think Jolene mentioned, you know, the having your quality team people, like that really truly is everything. If we don't have the horses in the stable, there's no way we can win any races. And we got just great horses. I think a few sitting right there. We just have great people in the firm that are able to execute and be able to sit down and talk to clients. The fixed fee billing, up to a few years ago, I've done all the billings, and now, I mean, they're just a piece of cake. I mean, you know what the monthly amount is. You fill in some of the things you did for that month, and boom, the bill goes out, and we never have issues about collection. We just never have issues, because before it gets to that, we've already dealt with it. In our fixed fee arrangement, we have a guarantee in our fee that we'll refund the previous 3 months' fees if they're not happy. And in the 12 years, we've done one check back, and they subsequently went broke, and we fired them anyway, so it was all good. Our cash flow is steady. We don't have a crushing personal tax season. We only do personal taxes for our month-to-month clients. Our team members are encouraged not to work overtime. I don't want to be there. Why the hell would I want them to be there? I don't want them to be coming to the office saying I'm going through a personal divorce because I'm working here all the time. I don't need that. I don't need that on my shoulders. One of the things that has come out of this relationship with clients is that we've been asked to help with sale of clients. And 5 years ago, the firm to date has done over $200 million in sale of clients. The first one that we did, the first major one, was a $100 million deal, and we charged a percentage of it. I can tell you that was a game changer. It was truly, we're talking fees, I mean, we charge a percentage of it. It doesn't take too many points to have a career bill. And it's not something we went out and chased. It was not something about the fees. It was something that an opportunity came up, and here's how we're going to charge. And the client went for it. And when we sat down with them at the end, we said, here's a bunch of the contentious issues that the purchaser had. We saved you $16 million. I mean, they were just blown away. So our bill was chump change. It was literally chump change. And when you can go to the employees or your team members, the fellow that handled that particular transaction, I mean, you know, when you get a 10-year annual salary as a bonus because you did the transaction, and all the other people in the office are walking away with a 1-year salary as a bonus, everybody's participating, and it's magical. That's really the only way to describe it. It's really magical, and if somebody would have told me back in '97 when I came back, Mr. Fraudulent from boot camp, and said I was going to be sending some invoices out like that, I was just so off the map that I wouldn't even have known what to say. Obstacles. We had some great discussions yesterday at a round table. The obstacles is really getting started, and you people that have practices, that have compliance practices, you're just in great shape to make changes, because you got this cash cow over here, and you you want to do these different services, all your new clients, and was what we did is any new client after like 12 years ago, any new client, this is the deal coming in. No exceptions. None. Zero exceptions. If you're going to come in with us, this is the process we're going through. And then we started converting some of the old guys that we had into our process. And that took a while. And some of them still aren't converted. But they pay well. They're been around for 25 years. So we haven't punted them. But like I say, now we're at 70 to 75% is our fixed fee billing percentage. And so the obstacles is really just getting going and getting clarity on how you want to deal with that client. And when we sat down, did our first planning day, I mean, it's scary because you don't know what the hell's going to come out of it. But you fumble through it. The first two clients that we had on the fixed fee, I mean, I can't even tell you how low our fee was because you'd think I was an idiot. But we got a lot of bruises and we lost a bunch of money doing it, but we got some credibility because we were able now to go to that third client and say, we've done this before and we can look them in the eye and we were truthful about it. Not very well, but we did it. And that credibility makes all the difference in the world. A lot of things that we do, you all have done in your own practices. You do them every day. It's a matter of really putting a program together that you feel that you can script out to that particular client, and you are able to script that out and do it in a real positive manner. And once you do that first one, you're off to the races. Now you're an expert, and that's how you get better. I mentioned we get a lot of referrals from one particular bank. We're getting referrals from clients. We're very involved in the community. Big Brothers and Sisters is one of our big organizations that Brian, one of my partners, heads up. I'm on Breast Cancer Supportive Care Foundation in Calgary as a board member and spend more time with that, I think, in practice. And those things are great to get involved in, and they help you get connected with your communities. Thank you very much.
The last couple of years at conferences, people would come up to me and say, "Have you ever talked to Stan Stawowski?" I'd say, "Well, yeah, to some degree," but they said, "You need to have him speak to all the members." And we weren't here last year, I don't think, at the conference, but wow, what wonderful things to hear. So before we open up for questions from the audience, I have a question for you. After hearing these four people speak, has your view of what's possible in your practice changed? Look around the room, keep your hands up. That is beautiful. See what you guys all just gave a wonderful gift to everyone here. Because that's what this is about. That's what this is about. What is possible for you is limited by your view. Your view is from here to here to here, and as it opens up, what's possible changes instantly. What was not possible before you got here 2 days ago is now possible. And what it took in this case is your openness and your willingness to see. That's number one. And then people sharing what they've done. So I don't care how strong someone's belief is that perhaps clients won't pay that kind of money. Clients don't want to engage that way. You can't do this, you can't do that. And then you hear people who are doing it and it's working. So now it can't work has to disappear. As we believe, so is it. So absolutely beautiful. Thank you. Let's give it a
like what you're doing, you're our business advisor, how that work?
Well, when we first started talking to a client, we make sure they understand that we're going to spend a bunch of free time with them to see whether they are a fit. And so once we've gone through, and one of the things that kills you in these fixed fee agreements is have a client that has a bookkeeper or an accountant that is terrible. Because you get sucked into a bunch of, like, you're trying to get financial information from them, and you're correcting stuff that should be pretty good already. So the process starts that we, first of all, determine whether we like the client, whether we want to work with them, and get a sense of their infrastructure. If we like that and say, okay, we need to go through a planning day process, but we want to formalize what our suspicions are, so we put them through the business diagnostic, and it invariably always reinforces what we already know. And sometimes there's some surprises, and what's nice about it is once you print it out and you get in that planning day, you are now able to, if there's a contradiction from what people are saying to what they put into the diagnostic, you're able to call them up on it and say, well, you said this over here, I don't understand. Like, why did you say this here and now you're kind of reversing here? So it starts off with determining whether you want to have the client, doing the business diagnostic or not, and then we've done enough of these, we have a sense of what the fee should be, and then we tell them, okay, now you need to put some time into the diagnostic, we'll prepare for the planning day, and this will give us our statement of work and all the things we need to get done. A lot of the stuff in the statement of work, we've already kind of heard those pain points when we were meeting with them initially. So it's a freebie, the first bunch of meetings, to find out, you know, it's back to the old thing. If you let this poor client in, it seems like they bug you for till the day you die. So if you can avoid making that mistake, it's just like a bad employee. If you let them in the door, merciful God, it's hard to get rid of it. It's hard. You're dealing with that pain for like month in, month out, and that's what you do. You deal with that pain. So if you can eliminate that initial mistake, boy, that makes all the difference in the world. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, thank you.
Any questions? Thanks, back there. Microphone.
No?
Can I just try to be loud?
Here we go.
Do you take on any clients that have maybe net losses rather than net income or cash flow? Ever take that risk?
We look at that, and one of the issues, and that's why I mentioned the panel yesterday, and we talked about doing beach yard, getting clients coming to you that are already successful. And in some cases, our referrals from the bank, they're in a bit of a distress situation already. If you can turn them around, they become fantastic clients. In some cases, though, they're almost, you're in, you just really, it's almost too late to help. So you got to make that call. We've had the banks where they'll guarantee our fees, so they'll say, look, if you work with these guys, your check will always go through. And so to answer your question, Don, yeah, we do work with guys that have lost money, but there's got to be a light at the end of the tunnel. I mean, we're not there to beat our brains out. If we can't do the fix, then why the hell do we want to be there? I mean, you can get money from a successful client. Why would you waste your time with somebody that's the ship's sinking? Why would you do that?
A question for anyone on the panel, or all of you. When you receive a referral and then you go through your process of interviewing that client, and they maybe turn out to be a client that isn't going to fit. How do you go through that with the client, and maybe more importantly, the referral source? And then a question for Stan: how, with your existing clients, when you began to convert over to the planning day process that you talked about, and the rest that goes with that, how did you approach that with your existing clients, and how successful were you?
Well, first question, I just don't think you should be guilted into taking on a client that's not going to be a good fit. I mean, if it's not a good fit, it's not a good fit, and there's good reason for that. And the person that gave a referral, you know, we can't do what they expect. We can't do it on the maybe the fee that they're expecting. There's a lot of legitimate reasons. You don't have to do things because you feel like you should be guilted into doing it. That's how I look at it. In the second part of your question, when I was going through the process, it was switching the older clients over. Like I say, it was much easier to do with the new ones, because the new ones, this is the deal. If you don't want to come in, fine, go elsewhere. It was dead easy. The revenue stream was still over here from the old guys. The first client that I approached, had been a client for a long time, he did switch over, liked the idea. And that was encouraging because, again, it's like the old thing, if you get one on board, it gives you confidence. It gives you confidence to go. And I didn't worry about that. I thought it'll eventually work itself out. And that's just what happens. And we took on, one of my partners, when he first came on, we took on a couple of public companies as their surrogate CFO. And it was a disaster because we got dragged into all this compliance stuff, which we hate. Right? It's not what we want to do. But again, we got into it, and it kind of kept the wheels going. Actually, helped me keep them there being employed because it paid his salary. But we knew that this was really not where we wanted to go, so we eventually chopped them and brought on other guys. So it takes time. So if you got to practice, that you got to switch over to them. You know, keep doing what you're doing on that side, but make sure your energies go to the new deal, and make sure that that's your vision, and it's clear.